What's that? I wasn't cancelled. Of course not. This is the internet. So that means it's time for another episode of The Whole Show. The Whole Show. Still amazing graphics. Yeah. Welcome back, and thank you so much for waiting this long for a second episode. I appreciate if we were actually dating and I had waited this long to ask you out again after a first date, there would be no second date. But like any good man, I have my excuses. Basically, I did not expect so many people to watch the first episode. I thought it would be like 10, and it turned out it was a little bit more than 10. The pressure got to me a little bit. Because I wrote another episode and I recorded it and I wanted it to be really, really, really funny for you guys. And it really, really sucked. So I went away and I worked on it a little bit more, and then I recorded it for a second time, or at least I thought I'd recorded it a second time because I was using a fancy camera and I didn't realize it had switched off after about 20 minutes. So basically, I was just talking at an expensive piece of plastic for the best part of an hour. So I've re-recorded it now. If you're watching this, that means this has worked, thank God. And hopefully it's also technically better because, as I said, I was having technical difficulties. The difficulties being that I don't know how to use tech. But yes, I've got now a little bit of lighting. I've got 2 microphones. I've got a decent camera that looks very much like HAL from 2001 Space Odyssey. And the more I stare at this camera, the more I realise that cameras are really phallic, and you can tell they were designed by men. And I appreciate this is like the difficult second album, because the first one went quite well, and you're thinking, does this guy know what he's doing, or was that just a fluke? Well, I don't know what I'm doing. But I will do everything I can to make these videos as fun for you as possible. And for those who haven't seen this before, because there's only been 1 episode, my name's Peter Hose, and consider me the extra friend in your screen. I mean, you can't touch me because of the screen, and even if we're in real life, that would be inappropriate, although I would be open to it after a couple of drinks. But seriously, I just want to make you smile a little bit. So, with that in mind, let's crack on with the show. So we've now survived a month of social distancing, which I never thought could happen. Not that social distancing wouldn't last for weeks and weeks and weeks, just that I didn't think I'd personally survive it. But here I am. I mean, I'm obviously talking to myself now while staring at a camera, but ostensibly I've survived. But, you know, I still have my moments where I feel lonely. In fact, it's getting quite bad that I'm actually leaving my wallet by the window at night, just in the hope that a burglar will see it and try and steal it. And as they try and break in, I can just switch on the lights and offer them a tray of freshly baked cookies, going, "Come in, please be my friend, please." God, that sounded so tragic. Oh, that sounded so bad. Oh God, I'm so alone. But if you are feeling alone or lonely, reach out to friends and family. And if you don't, well, you do, because I'm here. So just leave a little comment and say hello and tell me what you need. And as long as it's jokes or pictures of puppies or silly banter, I can offer that. If it's medical advice, please go to the NHS website. Now, last time I did a segment called The Hose Down, and you replied with a resounding, "Meh." Turns out you don't want jokes about Prince Charles and Dua Lipa. So I thought, well, it's still a great name. How can I revamp this? So I spent minutes coming up with a slightly better idea. So with that in mind, I am proud to present The Hose Down. This is the segment where I take down one issue, like a verbal wrestler, where my words are like punches and my views are like kick drops. And yes, I have never watched wrestling before. And also, yes, the kids did practice their wrestling moves on me at school. So I associate the rock bottom with not just a wrestling move, but also how I felt as a child. And this week I'm taking on the parents who were disappointed in their children for still working at supermarkets despite no longer being teenagers. That's right, it turns out they were not losers and wasters who are living at your place rent-free. By the way, that is your fault. You know you can kick them out any time. No, they are our heroes. They stand shoulder to shoulder with our doctors and our nurses and the other emergency services and frontline people keeping us safe during this pandemic. Without them, we would literally starve, and yet you You were ashamed of them. Well, shame on you. For years, you would try and avoid talking about your child at dinner parties. Sandra would be there talking about Kevin, going, we're actually very proud of him. Yeah. He's just finished a degree in law and he's about to start his career as a management consultant. How's George doing? And you'd be like, sorry, does someone mind just passing me the hors d'oeuvres? Anyway, has anyone seen the weather recently? It's been very wet. Well, you've been very wet, and not in a sexy way. Because how dare you be ashamed of your son? Because he is a cashier at Audi. Because of him, we can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because of him, we now have the alcohol we need for our Zoom parties. But you are ashamed. You are ashamed of our heroes. Because our saviours of Sainsbury's, our angels of Audi, our messiahs of Morrison, we need them more than ever, and we salute you. You are more valuable to me than nectar points. You are nectar to the point of my life, and I love you. But I will keep a distance from you, and not just due to social distancing. I do worry about the acne on your face. Seriously, why do you still have acne at 27? That should be sorted by now. Go see a doctor. No, don't go see a doctor, because actually they're very busy fighting coronavirus. So parents, keep your heads held high. For when we faced a crisis, your child kept us safe, kept us fed, prevented us from descending into cannibalism. Because even vegans would prefer to chew a neighbour's ankle than starve. And we would all prefer to chew a vegan than... No, we'd just prefer to chew a vegan. Why? Just to hear them moan about something else. And to those parents who raised those children, I want to say thank you. Thank you for having children that are not motivated enough to pursue fulfilling careers, but are motivated enough, just enough, to fund their own drug habits. And to everybody working in supermarkets, whether you be working at the cashier desk or you're working in the warehouses or a delivery driver, whether it be Waitrose or Lidl, thank you. And please, please, please keep those shelves stocked with flowers and eggs. Because I really want to make this rustic looking pizza, because I've seen this really delicious recipe and it's just going to be super tasty and it'll be amazeballs on the gram. Home tasking. So you might remember from the last episode, I've been taking part with the home tasking challenges. For those who don't know, it's run by the Taskmaster crew, which usually set comedians silly tasks to do, but now they're setting the whole nation silly tasks to do on Twitter using the hashtag home tasking. And my dream is to end up on the montage video, and it has yet to happen, yet alone in the shortlist of the top 10. And I don't understand why, because I have nailed every single brief. So since the last time, I've had to create a video where I camouflage myself and then reveal myself, but not like that. And then I then had to turn my kitchen into a sporting arena and then create a great sporting moment. Well, I spent 3 hours turning my kitchen into an Olympic stadium, and then I recreated hurdles using finger puppets and eggs. The genius was not recognised. We also had do something extraordinary with a pair of trousers, which I was disqualified from for apparently not being family friendly. And also, technically, the trousers did something extraordinary with me. But that's beside the point. Then you also had to create a famous scene from a movie, but do so silently. And then you had to turn your bed not into a bed. And I turned mine into a noughts and crosses board, which was genius. And then finally, you had to be a superhero and then demonstrate that superhero power. And so I became the problem solver. And the problem I solved was coronavirus. And yet, again, not making the video. What better superhero do we require right now than someone that can solve the coronavirus problem? So anyway, I think this is disgusting and a travesty, and I think you deserve to see the videos. So here they are.
You thought I wasn't there, but I wasn't. I was there. Ha ha! Wow. That was extraordinary. Thank you. Please don't sell the shirt.
I know, right? How good were they? In fact, I can actually hear you asking yourselves, why is it called home tasking? It should totally be called hose tasking. So, to Alex Horn and Greg Davis and the rest of the Taskmaster team, all I can say is, please include me in your next montage. Please. Please, I need this. I need this so much. Were hose nose. This is the segment where I discuss something I know a little bit about, simply because I researched it online 20 minutes beforehand. And this week I want to talk about Clap for Carers, which is such a beautiful moment when the whole nation comes out every Thursday at 8 p.m. to applaud our NHS and the people keeping us safe. And despite that beauty, that love, that show of affection, there are some people who go, well, actually, isn't Clap for Carers just self-indulgent and shallow? Because actually, what we should have done was ensure our NHS was properly funded in the first place, and we should stop voting for governments that are systematically destroying it from the inside. And to those people, I go, yeah, sure, but do you really want to be the one person who doesn't clap for our carers? Really? Really? Because you know, if heaven forbid you end up getting COVID-19 and you have to go to hospital, you know there's going to be an extra question in the patient questionnaire. You know, next to the normal questions like name, any previous medical or underlying medical conditions, are you pregnant? There's going to be a new question that goes, did you clap for carers every Thursday? Every Thursday? And if you tick no, you know what will happen? They're going to put a big black X across your chest. They're going to wheel you off that ward and into the corridor, and they're going to add a new note to your patient notes that will say, do not resuscitate. So just do us a favour. Every Thursday at 8 p.m, shut up and clap. Actually, don't shut up. Cheer. Boom. Your praise for our beautiful NHS, okay? Or if you don't want to do that, if you get coronavirus, do us a favour and don't go to hospital. And maybe we can get rid of your cynicism that way. Ask Hose. This is the brand new segment where I answer your questions that you sent to me earlier in the week. And we've had some great questions, so thank you very much. And if you've got your own questions, do feel free to send them in on whatever platform you're watching this. Or you could email me at hosecomedy@gmail.com. I'm sure there will be a link somewhere. Anyway, let's go on to the questions, shall we? The first question is from Stephen, who lives in Barry, and he asks, many people have started new hobbies, but I've taken up drinking more alone. Should I worry? No, Stephen, no, you shouldn't. Because as we all know, drinking is the ultimate British hobby. So I actually want to say thank you, first and foremost, for carrying on this beautiful British tradition during very difficult times. And actually, I'd encourage you to drink more, but don't do it alone. That's why we have Zoom and Skype and House Party, because you can pretend that you're listening to the other person while necking another bottle of your cheeky red, white, or spirit of your choice. Actually, the only thing I would say is make sure anything you drink has a minimum percentage of 15. I don't know why, I just find 15 is the minimum requirement just to hit my sweet spot, and that sweet spot is loneliness. So thank you, Stephen. So second question is from Rachel from Otley, and she asks, my flatmates are fighting over flour. Kathy wants to bake sourdough, but Keith prefers pancakes. What shall I do? Well, obviously you should smack Kathy for wanting to bake sourdough, because if I see another Instagram post of someone showing like their first sourdough, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. But I feel very frustrated with this. And actually, usually what I'd recommend is that you murder both of them for fighting over flour and then you move out. But I appreciate, Rachel, that you can't do that during this pandemic. So what I recommend is that you take the flour, and you say, guys, let's bake a cake. Because as we all know, cake is the ultimate use of flour. And then if any of them say, oh, I don't like cake or I'm on a diet, then you can murder them. And I believe that's not even criminal under the Coronavirus Act. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure there's a clause written in invisible ink. I think. Anyway, I hope that helps, Rachel. Tony from Milton Keynes asks, hi, I've been trapped with my children for weeks and they're driving me insane. When will it become acceptable to drown them like kittens? Tony. You can't drown children like kittens because kittens are adorable. And also, you chose to have children. This is God's punishment for your poor decisions. I'm sorry, Tony. That's just how it is. But thank you for your question. George from Norwich asks, I'm desperate for a haircut, so should I shave mine off? Good question, George. And it's one that I've seen a lot of men struggle with. And I've seen a lot of self haircuts online and they mostly look awful. So my recommendation is just leave it natural or shave it all off. I've decided to go natural because I am 30 and I've still got hair. And look, there's barely a grey one. So I'm making the most of this. In fact, actually, I'm trying to grow a top knot man bun. Not because I think it looks cool, because it looks stupid. And this might be the only time I can grow it and nobody will judge me too much. Also, if I shave my head, you can't tell, but actually my head is the shape of an alien from the movie Alien. So it's better if I just keep it covered up with these beautiful brunette locks. And then also, the longer it gets, when I'm feeling really lonely, I can catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and pretend that I have a girlfriend. Shirley from Morecambe asks, don't you think it's ironic that Boris Johnson said he owed his life to the NHS when his party has systematically tried dismantling it for the last decade? Shirley, you know we don't do politics on this channel. Or irony. And finally, Peter from Walthamstow asks, don't you think it's pathetic when comedians hide their views behind questions that they have obviously made up themselves? Shut up, Peter. You don't know me. Well, that's the end of the show, and thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, then let me know. And if you haven't, shut up, okay? And if you want to actively contribute to the show, then get in touch. I would love for other people to be part of this. You know, whether you're going to ask me questions or I interview you, or you've got ideas for sketches, or you want to film a segment yourself. Let me know and let's see if we can make this work. But until next time, take care of each other, be kind, be safe, love our NHS, and I will see you soon. Take care.